Heard in Bethany's news bulletin, a 4-year-old girl's fighting for her life at Alderhay Children's Hospital in Liverpool this morning after developing Strep A. Comes after 6 primary school children have died from the bacterial infection, and health officials issued a warning to parents when it comes to spotting the symptoms. Well, to give you some help upon that, not to panic you, but to help you, I'm delighted to be joined now by one of the very best A&E doctors, Dr. Omeka and he is here to tell us about those signs and symptoms. I said at the top there, I wasn't joking, not to stress folk, to help folk. What should mums, dads and guardians be looking for if they fear their little one may be poorly? That was the link froze there for a moment. I'm just being told in my ear we're trying to re-establish it. Are we having any success in that?
Yeah, sorry, it keeps timing out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Aye, sorry.
Brilliant.
Yeah, sorry about that.
How kind. Sorry it froze there, friend. I just wanted you calmly to tell mums, dads and guardians who are watching and listening what they need to look out for if they fear their little ones may be poorly.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. First of all, condolences to the families of those who've lost kids to Strep A. I've seen the articles and it's terrible. It's something we genuinely look for and fear, especially myself working in pediatric emergency. And we're just basically telling mums and dads to look out for the major signs, which are fever, a child having a sore throat, difficulty swallowing, and then having what we call petechiae or a red rash around the tongue and tonsil area and even on the skin. And it can feel a little bit like sandpaper. And this could develop 2 days after exposure, which is what we call the incubation period, when they've been exposed to Strep A from maybe another kid at school or nursery until developing symptoms. So if they feel any kind of difficulty breathing or swallowing and the child is severely unwell, they should be calling 111 and getting severe medical attention, because at this point, we don't know how many children could be affected by this severe disease. We know there's currently no vaccine. We know that this could be a result of potentially not mixing during COVID. And we'd hate to see children on life support and getting severely ill.
Yeah, and that's really important point you just made there, what to do, because we were putting up illustrations of what you were describing, the rash, the swollen tongue, all of that stuff, which clearly looks terrifying. And an awful lot of mums and dads would think that's a 999 job. I've read all about this strep stuff and my child is now in deep, deep trouble. It is not a 999 call. It's an NHS 111 call.
I would suggest, yes, NHS 111 first and foremost, and discuss with them over the phone. They're very good at triaging what signs and symptoms your child has had and how long they've had them. And then they can guide you on whether or not you can bring your child by yourself straight into A&E. You can see one of us, one of the professionals, or to sit on it for a few days, depending on how unwell the child gets.
And what are let's end on an optimistic note. Make that phone call, talk to an expert at the other end of the line. Maybe you end up in A&E. Maybe you end up having to see the GP. What are the treatments? Is it going to be antibiotic, as I read in most of the newspapers this morning? And are you, as a professional, optimistic we can crack this thing?
I'm very optimistic we can crack it. Like most seasons, we do see seasonal bugs, especially when it comes with children around this time of year. Often they tend to be viral and self-limiting diseases, and usually they can go away in a number of days or a week or so. We've seen severe chickenpox with children, which can lead to complications, and we've seen bacterial infections like Streptococcus pyogenes. Now we're seeing what we call scarlet fever, which is a Strep A infection. We can get on top of it as professionals. What we just need to make sure is that mothers and fathers and carers and guardians of children just identify the signs and get the right medical help.